re-rolling your heroes. What are your thoughts? Is that something that's gonna rub your traditional gamer, RPG gamer the wrong way? The fact that as of now, today, there isn't a traditional way of re-rolling your characters, your heroes? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Kupo. This is your host, Sergeant Bill McNasty.
And Kupo.
Coffee with Kupo, caffeine. What you got for us?
All right. Well, one of my personal favorite drinks of all time, white mocha, and a can once again. This here is the double shot. So this one's gonna keep me wired all day. That's why I haven't even opened this one yet, because this is gonna be one of those where I decide that I'm just gonna be playing those bad mother clunkers for 48 hours straight. And I have to hit up the Fiat mines the next day. So that's gonna be a big chug can for me.
Absolutely. No, we were having a great conversation behind the scenes, and I was chatting with Kupo about meeting up with some of my friends, and we're talking RPGs. They're big gamers. I'm a gamer with a little G. They're gamers with capital G's. They love their games, and we're talking DFK. They're not into crypto. They're not into the crypto space. They're aware of it. They've dabbled in the past. They don't necessarily play DFK, or they don't play DFK. Shame on me. I know. I do a better job there. With time, everything with time. But we were chatting, and we were, I was, talking about the game, trying to get their input. They're gamers or Web2 game players, right? Their thoughts on DFK as a whole. And one of the things they brought up was, the ability or the inability of, maybe being able to restructure or re-roll your hero characters. Now, I did bring up the fact that you could dump your heroes into the pit of despair and get new heroes, but they pushed back and they said, well, that's not really re-rolling your hero, because you end up losing one of your heroes. So we'll table that piece of that discussion, and maybe go with this piece. Kupo, re-rolling your heroes. What are your thoughts? Is that something that's gonna rub your traditional gamer, RPG gamer the wrong way? The fact that as of now, today, there isn't a traditional way of re-rolling your characters, your heroes.
Yeah, so this is a very tricky situation to talk about also. So obviously when we got our boar hunts introduced within the later months of 2023, up until then, all of our stats were basically based on speculation. Big shout out to Wowie, by the way, for breaking that down a little bit to make things a little easier for people to get an idea of before we actually involve ourselves with these hunts directly. However, when these NFT characters first came out, we were kind of like a little in the dark with how we were actually going to be utilizing these characters. We had ourselves our profession quest, so we have a lot of our heroes which were built incorrectly, needless to say, because at the time, obviously, those profession quests were like the primary concept of the game. We didn't have actual like battle mechanics in the game, so our warriors were getting themselves intelligence, our wizards were getting themselves strength if they're in the mines, but now that we actually have the opportunity to use these characters for more than just these profession quests, we can actually use them for their hunts. A couple of these characters that we've really become attached to, personally, my very first character is still with me and I love her to death, and I'm probably never going to get rid of her. She's my Pikachu to the end of the journey, winning the Pokemon League and everything. Some of these characters have been structured incorrectly because we were in the dark with how the character stats were going to be beneficial later on. We kind of had an idea how some of them would work. Traditional RPGs know that strength is going to make you better fighters. We can get ourselves intelligence and wisdom for our different healing and MP-based mechanics out there. But these characters didn't have themselves a fair opportunity. As you may mention, we do have the pit. We can just throw two heroes in there and get a brand new one and kind of start them all over again with getting themselves those levels. But What if we were to actually take these characters and kind of give them a nice little wash? The team has backlogs of everything. So they got timestamps out there of when they utilized the first introduction of like the boar hunt. So obviously they could also see when certain heroes were leveled up during certain periods. Not saying that they have to redo the entire character, but maybe as an option, not saying that everybody has to, but what if we had the chance of getting these roles redone for the heroes prior to the first hunt mechanic? Personally, my top character is level 18 right now, but when the boars came out, she was 15, 16. So that was a whole 15, 16 levels up that I didn't know what I was doing originally. So now that I kind of got an idea what's going on, I'm fixing up her dexterity because she's a warrior. And I'm trying to get a little bit more vitality up there so I can get my hero done again. But what if we actually had the chance to actually go back in time and have the chance to take the heroes that we grew up with, that we've been molding into these perfect little fighters or other or crafters or gatherers, and give them a second chance on actually getting the stats that they properly need? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I like it to some extent. I'm gonna push back and forth. By the time this is all done, you're gonna be as confused as I am. Anyhow, but let me get to this piece. I'll address your first question, or your question, which is, what I think of what you're proposing. I like the ability to sort of reroll your characters. As far as as you mentioned, we built our characters thinking, oh, this is my knight miner. I need to boost up strength and endurance because that makes a good profession quester. That's gonna be good. Come boar hunts, come bad mother clucker. Uh, my miner, great strength, great endurance, terrible dex. I mean, you've got a 1 to 4 ratio when you're comparing the dex I have on my knight to its strength and or endurance. I would love to be able to re-roll that, but here's the kicker, right? Um, is it really a bad hero? I could make the argument that it's not. It's a great profession quester. 1, 2, Kupo, world, everyone, right? And me 10 minutes ago, the heroes we were building for profession quest. At the end of the day, we are playing sort of a beta game, right? In the grand scheme of things, yes, it's a game in many respects, but it's still a beta. I mean, the game's still being developed. It's not full fledged, and we're sort of getting dibs here to sort of play the game as it goes, as it's being developed, and you're gonna run into these things. In 10 months, a year or two, whenever it happens, right? We could be sitting here in front of the camera making the same argument about crafting, right? I wish I could re-roll my paladin to be a better crafter because I didn't know XYZ, right? Enter new feature. I brought up the initial argument because I see it from their perspective, from their traditional gameplay mindset. The thought of building up a hero for the span of 2 years, only to then come to find out, yes, it was a good profession quester, but maybe a terrible crafter or a terrible PvP PvE hero. It might be it might leave a sour taste on some people's mouth. I mean, Koopa, what do you tell those people who maybe don't want to sort of dabble with DFK because they don't want to invest 2, 3, 4 years of their time only to find out that that time may have been quote unquote wasted?
True, true. And you also brought up the whole concept of crafting as well. If you remember, like the team did have themselves a gene reroll originally with the heroes, so we could determine what was going to be their actual like crafting stats. And like again, we also didn't know what these heroes had the potential of having at that time. But not saying that if they were going to do this like reroll thing, it has to be like right away, just because we just got our fighting mechanics. As you said, we still got crafting on the horizon, and there's going to be other gameplay mechanics that this game is going to be introducing in also. Maybe the team will give us like a break or a stone or a concept or something like that there that might be able to only like reroll like certain heroes. It's not like the whole bunch or something like that. Sort of like how we had ourselves what was it, the attunement stone or crystal or whatever was
Hmm.
that they introduced. So they kind of made that as sort of like a my bad type of situation. Who knows if they might introduce a few more of those or maybe have some type of compensation. Maybe they can also take so like how they do like the backlog type thing and how they kind of track everything that happens within the walls. Maybe they see how maybe X amount of heroes versus how many level ups they've done over X amount of time or something like that. Say, oh, you had 300 level ups in the month of blank 2023. Maybe we will give you one attunement crystal for every 100 level ups you did. So if you have that one hero that you want to correct or whatever, you can do that or something like that. Obviously, not so much like that. I just kind of break numbers down. That would completely break the whole game with those items if we did something like that. But I kind of just gotta like get you like an idea. Maybe something that's like how like the void shards are, where it's wallet bound, you know, so it's like attached to a certain wallet as opposed to something that you can just get and sell like on the marketplace right away or the bazaar right away. Something that would be like attuned to just the one particular wallet that they had out there. But everything is possible with this game. The team is always thinking. That's why they keep records of everything that's happening in the game, because if they have to fix something, if they have to change something, if X Jewel doesn't become available anymore, or they didn't give proper level ups for certain characters, they have some type of compensation going on. So the team is always thinking. They're always looking at what we have going out there, and they're listening to what we have to say also. So anything is possible in the future. If it's not going to be for all the heroes, maybe they'll give it for a couple heroes. Maybe they'll give them some choice heroes that they feel might be worth it, maybe from certain wilds that could possibly benefit with it. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a tradable item. Maybe they'll just treat the wilds how they've been playing and kind of reward us just based on our actions and what we've done over the time that we've had the accounts active.
Yeah, and it's an interesting topic. We sat around chatting about it. Lots of back and forth you can make on that. The how is one piece, and we could get as creative as we want on it. But you, the viewer, I want to know, um, re-rolling, some of your character traits. Is that something that's ridiculous, out of the question, or are you intrigued by by the concept? I think I'll leave it here. I'll make this statement, and I'll give you an opportunity to make a similar statement here in a second, Kupo. For me, I think the way the space is configured currently, if I had two, three, four, five, six, seven, whatever heroes, maybe I would have more of an issue with it, because I'm not confined to a set number of heroes that way, and I have, a stable of heroes to choose from. I am not as concerned with that piece as I would otherwise, right? I can pick and choose, and maybe my knight isn't a good PVE hero, but again, it's a great profession quester. We've talked about needing those. Maybe your paladin's not gonna be a good PvP PvE hero, but it might be a good crafter. The game's so versatile in that way where they've said it before, and they seem to be proving it. There isn't a bad hero, and I know I've mentioned before, even some of my common heroes end up being some of the better heroes for PvE PvE. Any closing thoughts there, Kupo, on this topic?
No, I'm gonna have to agree with you on one thing. One of the characters I got way back when was just something I got from a giveaway that was just a common archer pirate that I think, ah, my God, this character's not gonna have much of anything going for them. Guess what? Now, one of my best Void Hunt characters. So yeah, these heroes have the potential for anything. So I like to see what the team has down the line for these characters. What might be a shortcoming with a I don't know, like a pirate wizard gardener with purple wisdom. Who's to say if they're not going to become like the next like crypto gem out there? Anything is very possible to see what we could happen within the realm of DFK. So yeah, that's my closing argument. I would love to see what type of development these characters are going to have. If there's any type of backlog that they might actually be introducing with some of the characters we've already progressed with, and what the future holds with these NFTs.
And that's my takeaway. I think you've nailed it there, and I think we've come to maybe this conclusion collectively: is You can't be good at everything. You're gonna have to pick and choose, and that's kind of what you're gonna have to be okay with, I suppose. And I'm okay with that. Are you okay with that? Let us know. All right. This has been yet another episode of Coffee with Kupo, your host Sarge.
And Kupo.
Signing off. Kupo signing off. We'll catch you next time.